Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Moving Market Podcast. It is Friday, November the 7th, 2025. U.S. stock market will be open for about 30 more minutes. I'm recording this with about 30 minutes left until the close today. Wild trading session today, primarily in the sense that the Dow is on the verge of going positive, having been down a lot today. The NASDAQ has come back considerably. NASDAQ was down 450 points at one time. Right now, it's only down 126. Let me refresh this again. This has a little bit of a delay on it. But S&P also, I would say, within striking distance of going positive. 8 points is I mean, that's kind of a lot for the S&P, so no guarantee that'll move positive. But who knows with this last 30 minutes left? I mean, look at this one-day intraday chart on the Dow after being down a little bit in the open and then down a lot. It actually moved into positive territory about 30 minutes ago, briefly went back down, and now I think it's just, like I said, right on the verge. It's only 10 points down, right on the verge of going back into positive territory. Even though it won't, it probably, and I could be wrong on this, probably is not, oh, there you go, Dow's officially positive now. I don't know that the NASDAQ will gain enough momentum to go positive before this day is over. I mean, literally, we've got 27 minutes left to trade, but the pattern is the same. It was way down deep, has made a steady climb back up. This wasn't positive territory, but a little bit better than where it's at right now. Dipped a little bit again, and now on the move back to the upside. So who knows? It's not out of the question that as the momentum is shifting and shifting big time since a little past the midway point of the day, it's not out of the question that it could go positive. Now, I'm not holding my breath. I'm not. I feel like the fact that it's only down 120 something points right now, as long as this last 30 minutes doesn't bring like a complete catering, like crater. I said catering, cratering. As long as it doesn't bring a complete cratering, to me, this is a really positive sign considering how far down it was. What I really sincerely hope does not happen, I don't want to jinx it, but in this last 30 minutes, if you've been in the market for any amount of time, you know that this right here, a little after noon Eastern time, was the lowest point the NASDAQ hit during the trading day so far today. The idea that in 30 minutes it couldn't go back down there, don't guess that for 1 second. It absolutely could. And for a lot of you, by the time you're listening to this podcast or watching this podcast, what's done is done, and we'll see. You'll know then whether or not it's completely gone in the tank. My hope is that it doesn't, and this won't be a super long podcast. This will be pretty short. So I'll be watching these last 30 minutes to see what happens and to see how we finish the day. Hopefully, it finds its way into positive territory, or at least just a little better than where it's at right now. We'll see. So, this morning, all of the news this morning was basically about more fears of AI valuations. I had a good conversation with a good friend of mine that is a registered investment advisor. He trades a very large portfolio of investors' money, does very well with it. We had a really good conversation this morning about this AI valuation stuff. And he and I are pretty much on the same page. There has been a lot of negative this week about AI stocks potentially being overvalued. And there may be some truth to that, but we both agreed that the narrative about it being severely overvalued, it's just not accurate. It's just, it's a narrative, and that's all it is. The reality, I think, is that things might be a little bit overvalued, but we are at the very earliest part of the AI run. This has not been going on for a really long time, and I think there's a really long runway for AI companies. I think some of them are going to do incredibly well over the next couple of years. Already you've seen the likes of companies like Palantir, CoreWeave, Nvidia, AMD, You've seen 80 APLD that we just started trading. You've seen a lot of these companies that have had these, pretty amazing runs, and then they've been getting beat up this last couple of weeks. I mean, this doesn't look like a super big run until you start looking at the numbers over here and you see, $15 up to a little over $40 in just a couple of months time, and then, back down to 30. Okay, that's all right. I'd rather it be higher than that. I'd rather it be up by 40 with what we're trading right now. But I think it'll be back here and even higher no later than the early part of first quarter of next year. I think, we've seen sell-offs this week, pretty good sized sell-offs in Nvidia and Palantir and Palo Alto Networks and Marvell. But I really think Palo Alto Networks actually managed to come back to positive territory today. And I honestly think it's going to continue positive next week. And we'll look back and see this as something like this, where it came down, got kind of close, and then bounced and went up again. So I'm not worried about this from a long-term standpoint. A couple of the trades that we're in, specifically Amazon, which I think also snuck into positive territory just recently today. I think Amazon, they're not up much, but they are just ever so slightly into positive territory on the day. And I think they'll continue to go positive. And I think a lot of the trades that we're in are gonna prove to do very, very well. This has just been a rough week, with the big exception being Hood and SMCI, both on the triple play side of things. And both of those trades, by the way, I have closed out for full target profit on both of those trades. So from my perspective, we're in great shape on that. On collar trade side of things, really quickly, Palantir, I think, probably has bottomed out around 170. I think it got down close to 170 and now is kind of bouncing back a little bit. I think they're still negative on the day, but not near. Oh, I take that back. Palantir has moved positive on the day. They got down to 170 and even a little bit below that at the worst part of the day today, and then they've been steady up from there. So I think probably over the weekend for Monday morning's open, and it's going to depend a little bit on what the next 20 minutes gives us, but I think probably we'll cash in long puts. I think we're in a position to add 100 shares to our overall position, and then we might let it run a little bit. If you look at the chart on Palantir, I don't think they even got to a technical crossover on any of our three indicators. And I think they're getting a little bounce, and you can see this is interesting. They came right down here to 170. I guess you did get a technical crossover on the 5 and 20-day moving average, but I think that's going to reverse. I think the RSI is going to start moving back the other way. I think the MACD is going to continue moving on an upward trend, and I think 2-3 trading days from now we'll probably look at that crossover that happened today, and it will be reversed because it is an exponential moving average. So same thing with Nvidia, pretty rough week this week, but I think Nvidia, I don't know if they've gone positive on the day. No, they're still down a little bit, but way off of how you can just see on this OHLC bar. They touched down a little bit below 180, and now they're trading back over 187. So major improvement on the day. I'm not sure if they'll slip into positive territory or not, but way better than they were at one point in time today. So on the collar trade side of things, I think with Palantir, with Nvidia, I think we're probably really close to adding some more shares to bolster those positions. So looking good overall there. For those that have seen their portfolios dip a little bit this week, my cash portfolio, which has more of my spread trades, has dipped this week for sure. My collar trade portfolio is barely down, not even 1%, because things were very well protected. And on the spread trade side of things, I'm not too worried about the little bit of pullback this week, because I think it will come back. And the trades that we have open, I think, are very good trades for the sake of where they're likely going in the next couple of weeks. Let me see if I can refresh this one. I thought that was supposed to refresh automatically, but Nvidia is definitely still down, but much improved from where it was earlier in the day, and even maybe up a little bit from where it was yesterday. So, it drags us down just a tiny bit from where we were maybe a week ago, but you're going to have weeks like this once in a while. You can't get too worked up about them. They're going to come, they're going to happen. And we're going to get most of it back. I think Amazon will go positive for us early into next week. I think Nvidia will turn around very quickly. I think the spider trade will turn around very quickly. So I'm not overly concerned about any of these. But it's hard to watch them on a week like this. It's hard to go through a week like this and keep your chin up and be positive. I've had a couple of rough days, looking at my smaller cash portfolio, but I'm able to shrug it off pretty easily because I'm confident we're going to be more bullish than bearish as we go into these next few weeks. I could talk about the political stuff. This is kind of a trending headline right now. Chuck Schumer is saying we'll open the government, but you have to agree to extend the ACA credits for 1 full year. I honestly hope the Republican senators, and this I haven't read this yet, but this headline sort of indicates the Republicans are going to toe the line. I hope that is the case. I hope the Republican senators collectively give him the bird and say, no, you reopen the government, then we will have a conversation about what to do with Obamacare. Chuck Schumer is in no position at all to be calling the shots. And I'm going to be more disappointed than I've been in my whole life if the Republican Senate gives in to him. This piece of garbage needs to be put in his place and definitively told no. He needs to retire with Nancy Pelosi. They both need to be gone permanently from our political landscape. I just don't want them involved in our nation politics anymore. But I don't know what effect that's having on the markets. Maybe if there was a little bit better news, maybe the markets would be up a little bit more than they are, or doing a little bit better than they are. But again, based on how far down they were, if the pattern that's going right now, which is everything seems to be climbing, maybe the S&P gets into positive territory, and maybe the Nasdaq gets into positive territory. We're down to about 16 minutes left to trade. It'd be great to see that happen. I'm kind of crossing my fingers for it. But even if it doesn't, if we finished in this general area that this is in right now with 15 minutes left to go, I will consider that a pretty good day considering what this week has been like. So we'll see how it works out. I'll be back on Monday. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Keep your chin up. If you did take some losses this week on the spread trade side of things, don't worry too much about it. I think every one of these trades is coming back big time in the next few weeks. So we'll be in good shape. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.